Welcome to Kappa Feeling, where we dive deep into feeling all of the feelings. I'm Jess, and here we explore spiritual growth, personal development, yoga, meditation, and everything that helps you connect with your true self. Join me as we embrace the journey, one feeling at a time.
Hey everybody! So today I'm going to share a quick little stretching sequence, like 10-15 minutes, that you can do when you wake up in the morning, or it's another great one to do after work if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, kind of maybe hunched over. This is a heart-opening stretching sequence, so we're going to work on opening up the upper body. And also the sides and the back. So your heart space isn't just the front of your body, but it extends all the way around. So touching on all those points, but it'll also get into a little bit of our lower body as well. So quick little 10-15 minutes. Stretching is one of those things that I don't think any of us do as often as we should. And there's some amazing benefits to stretching. So it improves flexibility, it reduces muscle pain and stiffness. That's why this is a really great one if you wake up in the morning and you kind of like crawl out of bed and you're like, oh, like, you know, the back pain and the knee and legs are slow to get everything kind of lubricated. Stretching definitely helps with that. It also improves blood circulation, just like exercise in general. When we engage in that activity, the oxygenated blood goes to our muscles and helps revive them and keep them healthy. So stretching has those same benefits, just without the need to be quite as intense as some of our workouts. And it provides more energy. It can also be super beneficial if you have problems falling asleep or getting good quality sleep. So just depending on the stretches that you do, those are some of the benefits that can have. So for today's exercise, the only props that you're going to need are yoga blocks if you have them. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can take a rolled up bath towel, so like one of your bigger towels, or take a pillow, fold it in half. It's going to be for when we do supported fish. So any of those will work. Yoga blocks are obviously the easiest, but whatever you have at home will work. So we are going to start off in child's pose. So pushing our booty back towards our heels. And in this particular child's pose, we're going to have our arms out. So you can, in child's pose, you know, we can have our arms back. But in this one, we want our arms forward because we're starting to open up and stretch our side body, especially under our arms, which are areas that we don't necessarily pay as much attention to. And then just starting to stretch the arms forward, lower the head. And relaxing into the pose, letting gravity help with the stretch. And we're going to come up. We're going to move into melting heart or puppy. So from our neutral table, we're going to bring our arms closer to the top of our mat. And then just like in child's pose, we're going to drop our upper body towards the mat, keeping our butt in the air. So instead of bringing our butt back towards our heels like we did in child's pose, we're going to keep it raised. And we're just going to drop our chest towards the mat. And it doesn't have to come all the way down, but just working in that direction. So this, just like when we did child's pose, working up under the arms and down the side, working that same muscle group, it's just extending it. So now we're working more of the muscle in further down into our side. And remembering to breathe while we do these poses. We don't want to hold our breath while we're in the pose. We want that oxygenated blood flowing to the muscles, and in order for it to do that, we need to breathe. Come on back to our neutral table. All right. And now we're going to come over onto our side. And we're going to do, it's called the lying Buddha. So we're going to stretch our legs out. And we can take this a couple of different ways. You can take it with your arm fully extended, making sure not to lock your elbow. Using your front hand, I like to use fingertips as a kickstand. So it's just to keep us from kind of toppling forward or back. And then dropping our rib cage and our side body towards the mat. So the top side is going to crunch in, and then the lower side is reaching towards the mat. And this is really getting into our rib cage, areas of our chest that we don't spend a lot of time stretching. The other way that you can take this, I'll show you on the other side. But when you're in this, you can also play around with where your shoulders are. So your top shoulder could be in line with your extended arm. You could drop the shoulder towards the mat, and that's going to change what muscles you're targeting. Still all in that side body area, but you're going to get a different stretch. Making sure we do it on the other side as well. So I'll show you the other way you can do this. If straight arm is a bit too intense or deep of a stretch, or you want to have a little bit more stability, come down onto your forearm, spreading your fingers to give you a nice good base. Still using your top hand as a kickstand. And so you're still going to do the same motion. You're still going to work on dropping your side body towards the mat and really feeling that stretch all through the rib cage. But doing it this way gives you a little bit more stability than the full straight arm. And you can still play around with where your top shoulder goes, but also making sure that your front abdominals are engaged. That's also going to be super helpful in getting a nice deep stretch along your side body and keep you stable so you don't feel like you're wobbling back and forth. Good. And then we'll bring ourselves back up. And so now we're going to come into our supported fish, which is one of my favorites. We're bringing our block. And so you're going to take your block or your bath towel or pillow and put it back here. When you roll back onto the block, you may have to do some adjusting to get it in the spot that you want, because you want the top of your block or pillow or blanket at the top of your shoulder blade. Your other block you can use for your head, and so you can play around with it being on the highest level, medium, the same level as this block here. Maybe you end up taking this block out totally, depending on how deep of a stretch you want. So, I'm going to roll onto the placement and adjustment of the block. And so now I've got this where my head is supported, and yet I'm still getting the opening of my chest space, arms out to the side, or down, maybe up overhead, or not overhead, but just a little bit higher. Take the block down, and that's going to deepen. Maybe completely out and resting the crown of your head on the mat, but making sure that you don't have a lot of weight or pressure in the top of your head. It's just resting on the mat. So the support should be in the block that you're using. And then also playing around with where you've got your hands resting. So that's going to change the stretch as well. Good. When we go to come out of the pose, we're going to take and bring our forearms onto the ground and prop ourselves up, removing the block or pillow or blanket from behind us, and then coming all the way back down for a full body stretch. And then just relaxing into the mat for a moment. And then rolling either onto your right or left side and using your hands to prop yourself up back to a seated position. And we are going to come into our final pose of this little stretching practice, which is butterfly or cobblers with a rounded spine. So bringing the soles of our feet together in front of us, like so. And I'm going to turn sideways and see. So you can also take this from our Sukhasana or easy seat. So if soles of your feet together is too much, you can take it in Sukhasana. You can also bring your feet further out to lessen the intensity and pressure on the knees, or bring your heels in closer. So you can play around with those different levels. But we're going to hinge from the hips over our feet. When we do so, we're going to do it with a rounded back instead of a lot of times we do our folds with a straight back, straight spine. This one we want to round So imagine your shoulder blades are pulling apart into like a big hug. They're pulling away from each other as you fold forward. And that's creating space in your back body. Because we said at the beginning of the video, your heart space extends on all sides and all around. So it's not just the front, but it's also the back and side. And so with the rounded spine, it's opening up our back body heart space. This is also a place where if you want to try it a little deeper than just easy seats, but your knees are still up here, you can always bring blocks or pillows, rolled up towels under your knees to help alleviate some of that pressure when you go to fold. So if your knees aren't at the mat, or you want that extra support, that's a great place for props as well. So that is our quick little stretching heart opening sequence. Like I said, great in the morning, but also in the afternoon if you need a little pick-me-up, or if you get done with work and you're like, I need to stretch out, from sitting and feeling hunched over. This is a great little practice. So I will see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning into Kappa Feeling. If you loved this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share it with someone you think will love it too. I'll see you next time as we keep exploring all of the feels. But until then, stay connected to your heart and keep feeling it all.